Here is my tour-in guide of one of Japan and Kyoto's most iconic sites, that is the famous Buddhist temple, Kiyomizudera. Located in Kyoto's popular area called Higashiyama, which literally means East Mountain, Kiyomizudera is a very easily accessible attraction in Kyoto. However, the way I recommend you go is via walking, specifically down these three iconic paths. Ichinenzaka, 1-year slope, that's the translation. Ninenzaka, 2-year slope, and Sannenzaka, which is the 3-year slope. However, you want to be a little bit careful while going down these beautiful roads, because if you trip and fall on Ninenzaka, 2-year slope that is, apparently you only have 2 years left of life. Sannenzaka, if you trip, you probably already have a bit of an idea. You're a little bit more lucky, but you only have 3 years left to live. The Japanese are a little bit superstitious, and there are going to be some other really interesting superstitions that we'll talk about in this video. After a somewhat arduous climb going up Ichinenzaka, Ninenzaka, Sannenzaka, you'll pass through some gorgeously aesthetic, historic shopping streets, while eventually reaching the first main attraction, the first main gate, that is Nio-mon. It is by no means the main attraction though, but it will literally be an immense first impression because it is a total of 10 meters wide, 5 meters long, and 14 meters tall. Freaking crazy. We're visiting one of the most popular attractions, Kiyomizudera, and look at that view behind me of Sannenzaka as we enter this beautiful place. Although Kiyomizudera feels a little bit tucked away because you have to sort of go up Mount Otowa to get to the beginning of the grounds, they are absolutely massive, covering a total of 130 square kilometers and 30 total buildings in the temple grounds. For example, we already talked about Nio-mon, which is the main gate, but right nearby you can find Nishi-mon, or the west gate, which is really cool too, but even more impressively, you can find a 3-storied, massive, sort of bright red, orangish, you can debate the color with me in the comments, I guess, 3-story pagoda, which is absolutely beautiful. Make sure to check that out, but also take a look around you and turn around because you will see a great view, which you've earned by climbing up Mount Otowa to the point that you are so far. From here, I recommend working your way a bit deeper into the temple grounds, where you will eventually come face to face with the main attraction, arguably, no, definitely the most famous area of all of Kiyomizudera, which is the main sort of hall or the stage called Hondo. Now, Hondo is really popular because it's very beautiful, but also inside of it, there is the main object of worship, which is a statue dedicated or representing the goddess Kannon, who is representing sort of mercy and compassion. Really cool. It also has 11 faces and 42 arms, which is definitely a lot to wrap your head around. Another cool thing that you can do if you are feeling extra spiritual or just want to take part in Japanese ritual, especially temple practices, is you can light a stick of incense, and they only cost 10 yen, which is like not even 10 cents. So if you're feeling extra generous and you want to take advantage of Kannon's mercy on your bank account, get it? Because she's the goddess of mercy and it's really cheap. No. Explaining a joke's never funny. You can definitely partake in this. Now, architecturally speaking, Hondo, or the main gate, is also very impressive and worth mentioning because the entire structure was built without the use of a single nail. So no drills, no hammers and nails and screws, none of that, just some really incredible craftsmanship and woodwork. Also, the structure sits at a total 13 meters, that's like about 40 feet above the hillside, so it's jetting out of the edge, and it's really cool, and this actually created another superstition, I promise you to get to some more, that was really popular in the Edo period of Japan. People believed that if you took a jump, a little bit of a leap, from the stage of Kiyomizu, again, that 13 meters, and you survived, your wish would be granted. So the saying goes, or the phrase goes, to jump off the stage of Kiyomizu, which is sort of like a saying, not quite an idiom, that translates in English as to take a leap of faith, or to make a bold decision. Now, in case you are considering doing this, please keep in mind, don't do it because you'll hurt yourself. But more important than that, Japan does not allow this practice anymore. This was back in the Edo period. So if you want your wish to come true and you're just really desperate for something in your life to go the way you want it to, I can relate to that. We are in Japan after all, so maybe just try searching for the Dragon Balls.
Speak your wish now.
Please, give me 100,000 subscribers.
It shall be done.
Because anime is definitely real, right? Are you guys enjoying the Japanese superstition so far? Oh, you're not? You just wanted me to talk about... Well, the next superstition is going to be actually at the Jishu Shrine, which is located right behind Kiyomizudera's main stage, Hondo. Now, the Jishu Shrine, gotta say things slower so I don't trip over my words, is actually a shrine dedicated to finding true love. And the marker in the sort of superstitious way that you can determine if you're gonna find love or not is that there are two love stones that are actually about 18 meters apart from one another. And the superstition goes that if you can close your eyes and walk to the other stone, that means literally like walking into it without missing it, then you will find true love. Now, if you don't do that,
You will die.
no, you won't die. You just won't find true love. But you can do it as many times as you need to technically walk into it. And they say if you have someone else guide you along the way, it just means you need a guide or an intermediate to find love in your life. So many different little superstitions there that are cool and worth noting. Although this guide is far from over, we are now at the final superstition I'm going to mention that exists in Kiyomizudera or the surrounding area, which is actually the Otowa Waterfall. Now, the Otowa Waterfall is one of the most famous things in Kiyomizudera because the water is actually believed to be sacred. Interestingly enough, Otowa Falls is actually what gives Kiyomizudera its name because the sacred water is also sort of kiyomizu, which means pure water or spring water, and dera means temple. So pure water temple, the pure water is Otowa Waterfalls. So the water is actually divided into 3 separate streams that you can drink from using a long pole in the cup to reach over, wash your hands, then take a little sip from if you're feeling thirsty. Or you just want some sort of spiritual powers, which the spiritual powers are going to be, number 1, you can have increased longevity, number 2, increased school success, and number 3, you guessed it, finding true love. So a really cool thing you can do in Kiyomizudera is go to this little natural spring water coming from actually Otowa Waterfall. Now the magical thing about the water is it's believed to cure or help with 3 things in your life. You can choose which one you want to focus on, whether it be academics, relationships, or longevity. I'm not in school and I'm married, so I definitely chose longevity as I'm turning 27 next year. So really fun to partake in that, and it's just a cool superstition, local tradition, whether you're spiritual or just believe in these sort of things or not, doesn't matter, it's still really fun to try. So many cool things to see and do in Kiyomizudera. So if after visiting Kiyomizudera and you pass both these things, that is the Jishu Shrine and the Otowa Water, and you don't find true love, then damn, you must be really ugly. No, I'm kidding. Who really believes in superstitions anyways? I don't, but it's still a fun way to take part in Japanese cultures and traditions and learn a little bit more, and have a deeper, rich cultural experience while being in Japan. Before preparing to exit the Kiyomizu Temple grounds, you might have noticed another pagoda in the distance from the main sort of hall, Hondo area, which is actually still part of the temple grounds. This is called the Koyasu Pagoda. Now you can actually visit the Koyasu Pagoda by heading south from the Otowa Waterfall area, and this is definitely worthwhile to see as well because it's another 3-tiered, beautiful, bright red, sort of orangish pagoda structure that provides a different view that is of the main hall and stage area of Kiyomizudera, and of course the Higashiyama mountains in the distance. Really freaking cool. From the Koyasu Pagoda, I recommend returning to the Otowa Waterfall area and then heading west to sort of exit the temple grounds. Along the way, you will walk by the actual base of the Hondo main hall, getting to gawk up at it and appreciate how brilliant the architectural feat is in of itself. You'll also pass some other small cafes and small little restaurants in case you want to soak up the atmosphere and relax and eat some food. And you'll also pass by a little small pond which has an 11-tiered, not massive, but little small stone pagoda, which is cool to see, and maybe you can see some wildlife around the area as well. Alright, with that being said, you are now free to leave Kiyomizudera and explore the rest of the Higashiyama area or even Kyoto at large. Now I will have plenty of other guides and videos covering the main attractions. You might be thinking places like Fushimi Inari, Arashiyama, and thus so on. Those will be coming out soon, and as well as just a video of Kyoto in of itself. That sort of stuff will be really cool to check out. Make sure you subscribe to see those coming videos if you're interested in more Japan content. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next video. Peace.